Hello and welcome to another video in this series. For today's video, we are going to take a look at loops. Before diving into the implementation, let us understand what is loop and why do we need loops. So loop is an iterative concept in programming that allows us to go over a list of items. For examples, we have a list of string, integers, or even objects, and we want to print the values of these objects. Now, we can print these values manually if we just have maybe 2 or 3 items in our list. But imagine the case we have millions of records within our list. Is it feasible to manually type print line up to 1 million statements? I don't think so. It's not feasible. For that reason, we are introducing loop. So the first step of loops we are going to see in this video is going to be for loop. For that, let us create a file. So we can create a file in our working directory and call this loop. And in this loop, we will create another file. Or better still, yeah, we can create another file and call this for loop. Or folder, my bad. And in this folder, we are going to create 2 files. The first one is going to be for loop.js. And the second file is going to be index.html. And if you can recall from the beginning of this video, we introduced many ways of running or executing our programs. We saw using the web browser. We also saw using CodePen as well as our console. In this case, the reason we are going with our web browser is because we want to use the prompt keyword so that we can get prompt to enter certain values or whatever thing it might be. For now, we might not need the index, but just in case, let us have this. In fact, let us remove the HTML files. We might need this in other type of loops. For now, let's just go with our JavaScript files. Now, for loops, let us say our first program is to print from 1 to 3. So we can easily just console.log 1, and maybe we can just copy this and then paste below and also paste below and change these values. So we can change these values 1, 2, and 3 and save this. Now, if we try to run this program first we need to enter in the folder. So we can say cd. The name is loops, and also for loops. Oh, I have a typo over there, but no issues. Now I'm in the for loop folder. I can list and I will see my file, which is for loops. Let me run this. nodemon for loop. Now we can see in our console we have 1, 2, and 3. The values have been printed. But let us assume we have, or our program has instructed us to print 1 million digits from 1 to 1 million. How are we going to print these numbers? It's not really feasible. For that reason, we are going to introduce a loop. So for that, we can just remove out of this and just have one console, or we will just remove this as well and have our print statement. So we can say for, and in this loop, we have a series of parameters that needs to be passed on. We have the count variable, that is the first parameter. We have the conditions, which is the second parameter that we are going to check in order to break out of our loop or not. And lastly, we have our incrementation. So the first one, which is the count, let me create some spacing here. Okay. Yep. So we can select I. By convention, most people go with I, which is representing the index. So I is equals to 0. And we want to check if I is less than or specific number. So we can say if I is less than, let us say we want to print from 1 to 10. 10 and I plus plus, which is the incrementation. Let me go over this once more. Now, this is our for loop. First, we initialize our I variable, which we are going to increment. And second, we check if I, which is currently set to 0. If 0 is less than 10, which is true, whatever program we run in here, it should get a printer because this condition is true. If this is false, we are going to break out of this loop and run whatever programs or codes that is going to be below this for a statement. Hope that is clear. And lastly, we have the incremental statement here. And this is just saying for each iteration, I want to the variable I. So since I is 0, after first iteration is going to get equals to 1. And after the next iteration, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to the values that we specify in here. Until this condition is false, we cannot break out of this loop. Now, let us remove this. And here we can now say console.log. And in here, we want to print. We can just add a little design here. We can have our screen and say the current number. And we can say I, we pass I in here. And let us save this program now and see what is happening. Now, if we see in our console, we can see the count starts from 0 up to 9. And the reason for this is because our value is set to 0 here. If we want to start counting from 1, there are a few techniques we can use. This is based on how you understand the program so that you can have that ability to make some of these changes. Now we can say, let us say we want to, we don't want to start counting from 0, we want to start counting from 1 to 10. First we can add 1. We can add 1 to our variable. And here we will say less than or equals to. So let us first clear our console, and now we can run nodemon. Now we still have the same issues. So what is going okay? So what we can do here is to wrap this in parentheses, save. Now we can see running from 1. Okay, we have a little bit of mistake, which is here. So because it's running from 1 to 11. So we remove the equals and save this program. Save this program. Now we keep our finger crossed. We have from 1 to 10. So now we have implemented a program that can print a number based on whatever values that we pass over here. So if we want, now this program is very much rigid. We can add some tweak so that, for example, we can have a variable up here and call this num and pass in any value. We can say 80. So instead of hard coding 10, we can just pass in num. So if we save this now, our program should get executed or printed from 1 to 84. From 1 to 84. So this is how we use the for loop. There are many other ways, but this is the basic implementation of the for loop. And in future videos, we are going to see more of loops in combinations wherein we are going to plan a project and try to build upon the paths of previous knowledge that we have come across. With this and more, I'll see you in the next video.